All right, let's go ahead and get this party started. Welcome to our weekly market update. Let's see what we have in the chat. Good morning, Santiago. All right. Anybody do anything good this weekend? We have any open houses? Any good activity going on? Welcome to come off mute and say, did you show property? Anything? No? Okay, we got to get out there, you guys. We got to start doing some open
Uh,
houses. That's okay. No appointments. That's okay. That just means this coming up weekend, we're gonna get some open houses, show some property to some potential buyers. You guys will see we've got some good news in the news that I'll be reporting at the end. Um, good news in terms of for our market, for our buyers that are on the fence. So yeah, we gotta get after it. So you guys know, um, BTCPA compliant as you're making your phone calls, your text messages. Make sure that people we're using permission marketing, right? Not calling anybody on the do not call list. That's important. So let's go into our LA County. For some reason, all of a sudden, my voice is starting to crack and go out. It's the weirdest thing, you guys. Um, but don't worry. I got you. We're gonna make this work. Okay, we're gonna make this work today. Um, let's see. Hop on. I'm just texting our folks. Hop on our call. Our weekly market update. All right. So let's start as we always do with LA County and go through. We always go through our four counties so that we can give you guys the best information. Why do we do that? We do that, you guys, because pretty much what we're trying to do is make sure that you guys know what's going on in the market um, so that you can supply the news to um, your database versus being the one to hear it and them calling you saying, "Oh, Nikki, did you hear about such and such?" Right? No, you already know what's going on so that you can be like, "Yes, absolutely," or you've already reported to your database what's happening in the market. Or when they do come at you with, whatever the latest is, you could say, "Yes, and did you know XYZ?" Or let me tell you what that means to you, right? So we are in that day and age of AI and Google, and they have news at the tips of their fingers, but do they really understand what it means? And that's the key. We have to be the ones to interpret the market for our clients, right? They may hear the news, but they don't know how to interpret it. They may hear the data, but they don't know how to interpret it. And that's what we're here for. Okay. All right, so let's dive in. So let's look at the Los Angeles County sales trend for sale properties. That is inventory on the market. It is down 2.8% over last month. Okay, and remember, this is looking at September 1st uh, until September 13th, 2025, compared to August 1st through August 13th, 2025. That's this first column here. Okay, I normally focus on the first and the last column for the most part because the month over month comparison, meaning it's looking at September 1st through the 13th, 2025, as compared to September 1st through the 13th of 2024, right? Versus looking at the year comparison, which is more, it's more substantial. Okay. So if we look at that, for sale inventory has gone up 24.1% as compared to last year, which again, that's showing us that more sellers have decided to come on the market as compared to last year, right? To the tune of 24.1%, which is absolutely needed because last year we were in a seller's market, right? We had very little inventory. So we definitely needed this 24.1% increase in terms of the bump in inventory. Sold properties have gone up 10.8% over last month, which is great. First 13 days of the month. However, overall, we are down as compared to last year, 1.2%. Okay. So in LA County, we're trailing our sales from last year to the tune of 1.2%. Okay, now that's not significant. It's not a lot, but definitely it is moving in the wrong direction, right? We were actually supposed to go up in sales in California overall as compared to last year, and yet we are actually trailing to the tune of 1.2% so far. Pendants now are down 9.1% as compared to last month, and down 0.4% over last year as compared to last year. Okay, so again, a very small dip. However, not the increase that we expected to see as compared to last year. All right, so we're still watching that, and we're hoping that, given that I know you guys have been listening since, for a few weeks now, we are on like a 8-week skid in terms of interest rates. Okay, so interest rates have gone down 8 weeks straight, so that's great. That means that hopefully more buyers will jump in the market, and actually we're already seeing that more buyers are jumping into the market. And I'm already killing the cat because I'm letting the cat out the bag in terms of the my article that I have for you guys. But bottom line is we got some good news. All right. All right. New listing inventory is down 5.1% over as compared to last month, first 13 days of the month. However, overall, 11.8% more new listing inventory than we had last year. So couple that with the 24% increase in existing inventory coming on the market, and we've got 11.8% new listing inventory on the market. You guys, that is really good for LA County, right? Sorry, I'm gonna mute you guys. Sorry. Average active price is up 0.2% as compared to last month, and down 6.9% as compared to last year. So what does that mean? Sellers on average are asking 6.9% less than they did last year in LA County. Okay. However, look at this. They're selling for, closing for 7% higher than they did last year. Okay. The normal amount of appreciation over the last 30 years has been between 4 and 7%. Okay. That's the normal amount of appreciation, typically 4. So this 7% is on the high side of that. Okay. We're actually on the high side of appreciation in LA County. Sellers are happy. They're getting 7% appreciation, right? As compared to last year. So those sellers who are selling on average are getting 7%. Now, what does that mean to you? You still got to be hyper local. Why? Because in your neighborhood, in your specific area that you're the listing agent, it might not be 7%, right? It could be 3, it could be whatever, it could be flat. You've got to be hyper local so that you make sure that you're giving good information to your seller about the trends in their specific pocket. They don't care about LA County, right? They care about Downey, or they care about their specific zip code. So you still have to be the local, hyper local economist of choice by knowing your numbers. Okay. All right. Months of inventory, that's our absorption rate, right? That tells us what type of market we're in. We're in a seller's market, a buyer's market, or a normal market. Okay. There's a 9.5% decrease over last month. Last month, we were at 4.2 months of inventory. Currently, we're at 3.8 months of inventory. All right. Overall, a 25.6% increase over last year. Last year, we were at 3.1 months of inventory, currently at 3.9 months of inventory. Based on this information, you guys, what type of market are we in LA County? Come off mute and give me an answer, please. This is the participation part. Who knows?
Seller's market.
Thank you, Santos. Paniagua. I love your name. We are in a seller's market. Now, what market are we approaching being at 3.9 months of inventory?
Normal market.
Thank you, Danila. We are approaching a normal market, right? Because a normal market is what, Danila? Where do we start to hit that normal market?
Between the 4 to 6 months of inventory.
Thank you, girl, I'm giving you a virtual high five. There you go. Yes, that is it. 4 to 6 months, we are going to be, we're in a normal market, right? Now, does that mean that as soon as you hit 4 months, everything changes? No, we are seeing those gradual changes as we approach that 4 months. And what does that mean? That means homes stay on the market longer. That means that more homes are on the market. That means that sellers and buyers are in alignment, right? That means that your buyer won't have to come in with 40,000 over asking, more than likely, right? They will come in at asking price if that seller is priced competitively, right? It means our sellers are going to have to price competitively. They can't be asking for the moon, the stars, the sun, and everything else in the atmosphere. Okay, they have to be more realistic about their price because they've got more competition, right? That's what that's what a normal market typically starts to produce. Okay. All right. So average days on market, this is where we start to see it. You see your months of inventory go up. What else are you going to see? Your days on market's going to go up. Okay. So average days on market in LA County has gone up 8.1% over last month. Last month, we were at 37 days on market. Currently, we're at 40 days on market. As compared to last year, it's a 23.3% increase. Last year, we were at 30 days on market. Currently at 37 days on market. Now, if you show your clients this, they could think, what? Oh, I've got a month. I could go look at everything, right? No, do not do that. Still have to have a sense of urgency because your buyer, if they're looking for those popular 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a 5,000 square foot lot home in a good neighborhood, good condition, guess what? So is everybody else. So they've got to have a sense of urgency and go get that property right away, not think they've got 30 days or 37 days to go look at a property, because that's not true, right? All right. Sold versus original list price, 1.1% increase over last month. Last month, sellers were getting 95% of their list price. Currently, they're receiving 96% of their list price, right? And then overall, as compared to last year, a 1% decrease. So last year, sellers were receiving 98% of their list price. Currently, they're receiving 97% of their list price. Oh, I've got a hand. Yes, Danilo, what's up?
Hey, good morning. I was wondering about the days on market, right? How does that number get recorded? Like once they go through escrow and then once escrow closes, the house is still considered on market until it closes, or how does that get calculated?
Such a good question. I'm sure my seasoned agents know the answer to this, but the way that it gets recorded is days on market is, so you see DOM, right? When you look at the MLS. So that starts to get recorded when a property is active and active under contract. Okay, so that's where it's ticking. The ticker's going. When it hits pended, the ticker stops. Okay, only when it hit pended does the ticker stop. Okay. And so when it's recording on this average days on market, these are properties that have closed. Okay. And or gone into pended status where the ticker has stopped, and it's giving us the average days of the actives, the average days of the closed. Does that make sense? This is the average days on market of the properties that are closed. And the ticker starts when you go active, and it keeps going even when you're active and pending under contract. But when you put, or active under contract, but when you put pending, it stops. Okay. Does that answer your question?
You. Yes, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Of course, of course. All right. But these are closed properties that they are reporting on. All right. Now, let's go to Orange County. So that's it. Yep, we talked about sold versus original list price. Let's just make a quick note on sold versus original list price. You guys, when we're looking at sellers in LA County, we're getting 98% of their list price last year, and now they're getting 97% of their list price. Just know that we have a big stake in that, in terms of big influence in that. We help our sellers to establish their list price, right? So when sellers are looking at getting 97%, you can help your seller to get 100% of their list price by using a pricing strategy. And we are actually going to be going over pricing strategies tomorrow in our class on how to create a stellar market analysis with one of the best in the industry, which is Dominic Adams. He's coming into our market center tomorrow. You have to be in-house. It's $39. And he is going to be teaching us how to do a market analysis and how to market his actual program, which is called I think it's called a step up program to sellers. All right. So it's going to be a great class if you need help with your market analysis and your skills, which let me tell you, all your top producers are in that class tomorrow. Okay. So that should tell you as a newbie, you should be in that class as well. All right. All right. Orange County, for sale properties is down 5.6% over last month. Okay. As compared to last month. However, overall, we're up 28.3% as compared to last year. Sold properties are down 9.7% as compared to last month and down 2.6% over last year. So again, in Orange County and LA County, we're trailing sales as compared to last year. Pendants are down 2.3% over last month and down 0.6% as compared to last year. So these numbers are very similar to LA County numbers. Inventory improvements in the 20%, mid 20 to upper 20s. Sold properties are being down lower than 3% in both counties, and pendants not even 1% decrease, but still in the negative, right? Okay. New listings is down 30.9%. It's crazy, you guys, how my throat is just really weird. Anyway, down 30.9% as compared to last month and up 9.3% as compared to last year. Okay, so we do see, again, we're still in the increases, increasing in inventory. New listing inventory has improved to the tune of 9.3% as compared to last year. All right, average active price has gone up 1.7% as compared to last month, and gone down 7% as compared to last year. So sellers in Orange County are asking 7% less than they did last year. Again, even the Orange County sellers, who are, as you will see, have a little bit different dynamic than LA County, are still being more conservative in what they're asking than they were last year. And they're receiving 4.2% higher than they did last year. Okay. So although they're asking 7% less, they're receiving 4.2% higher than they did last year. Okay. Months of inventory is up 10.9% over last month. Last month, we were at 2.7 months of inventory. Currently, we're at 3 months of inventory. And then a 33.4% improvement over last year. Last year, look at that. 2 months of inventory, you guys. It was hardly anything on the market. And now we're sitting at 2.8 months of inventory. So that is still a good improvement, moving in the right direction. Okay. Average days on market is down 2.7% as compared to last month. Last month, we are 37 days on market, currently 36 days on market, not much movement at all. However, as compared to last year, we've seen a 33.3% increase. So last year, 24 days on market, currently 32 days on market. Okay. Sold versus original list price, a 1.1% increase over last year. I'm sorry, over last month. Last month, we were sitting at 95% of list price. Currently, we're sitting at 96% of list price. And sellers are receiving a 1% less than they did last year. Last year, they were at 98% of list price. Currently, sellers are receiving 97% of list price. Now, again, why does that make a difference? Overall, in terms of the county's numbers, it doesn't, because that is a very nominal decrease, and you can help your sellers to receive 100% of their list price based on having the proper pricing strategy, right? Okay. But overall, you could tell them an overall number. Like when you're having these general discussions, when people are saying like, how's the market? Right? Do you guys get that question, right? You tell them you're a real estate agent, or people know you're a real estate agent. I get that question all the time, even from my closest friends. Like, Brandy, how's the market? And I'm like, okay, are we talking about your home? Because I have a friend in Rancho Cucamonga. Are you talking about your home in the IE? Okay, or overall, what are we talking about, right? And then she's like, well, yeah, what's going on in the IE? And then I can get into those statistics, and I do base my general statistics on this report. Okay. Or like when I'm talking to my mom and she's like, oh, baby, they're telling me that, house prices are going down. And I'm like, well, Mom, in all honesty, in LA County, house prices are not going down. You guys are seeing 7% appreciation overall. And I'm like, but I mean, in Carson, and then I get into it, right? Because again, I'm keeping track and I know these numbers, I'm studying them and feeding them to you guys every single week. So we all should be able to really talk intelligently about broader sales trends because of this, right? And you really sound like you're really in the know. And it probably, well, not probably, it should give you confidence when you're talking because you know exactly what you're talking about. And if you needed to, you could go pull the report and show them the numbers, in black and white. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Sorry. All right. For sale properties in Riverside County, a 1.7% decrease over last month and a 12.2% improvement over last year. Okay. So we are seeing again across the board more inventory. Sold properties is down 5.9% as compared to last month and down 4% over last year. Okay. So that's the highest decrease in sales in across the other as compared to the other two counties, right? Pendants are up 5.6% over last month and down 0.9% as compared to last year. Okay. In Riverside, new listing inventory has gone down 3.2% as compared to last month and up 4.2% over last year. So again, across all the counties, we are seeing more inventory in all the counties. In existing inventory improvements and new listing inventory improvements. Average active price is down 0.6% as compared to last month and down 1.7% as compared to last year. All righty. So sellers in Riverside County are asking 1.7% less. However, they are still in the positive. They're receiving 1.6% higher than they did last year. Okay. So they are still in the positive as a county. However, you can imagine this number being so slim. There are some areas that are not receiving positive gains as compared to last year, right? And there are some that are. So you would have to be hyper local and dive into this so that you could see who's who, right? And what exactly is going on in your seller's neck of the woods or for your buyer for that matter, right? When you are making an offer, what do? We make sure that we run the comps for the buyer to make sure that the offer that the asking price is in alignment with the comparables, right? We don't want to just blindly submit an offer and not have run the comparables and made sure that our buyer is making a reasonable offer, right? All right. So months of inventory. So months of inventory is up 9.5% as compared to last month. Last month, we were at 4.2 months of inventory. Currently, we're at 4.6 months of inventory. So this month, currently, if we're looking at this snapshot, Riverside County is definitely in a normal market, right? However, overall, they're approaching a normal market, right? Overall, they're approaching a normal market because they're at 3.6 months of inventory, which is an improvement over 3.1 months of inventory, which was last year. Okay, a 16.3% increase. All right. Average days on market, 2% improvement over last month. Last month, we were at 49 days on market, currently at 50 days on market, not much at all. And then a 24.4% improvement over last year. Last year, we were at 41 days on market. Currently, we're at 51 days on market. Sold versus original list price has gone down 40.6% as compared to last month. Now, there's an anomaly in here. There's got to be, right, for this to have a 50% or a 40% decrease. Oops, sorry, guys. You don't go from 96% of list price to 57% of list price. There must be some property in here or a couple of properties in here that actually took a huge decrease. I think I mentioned this last week. Sometimes, and my seasoned agents will know this, when we put a property on the market, let's just say you put it at 950, but oops, you made a mistake. That 9 was supposed to be a 5. So you have to go back in and correct it. It should have been 550 versus 950. Unfortunately, the MLS just looks at that as a reduction. It doesn't allow us to revise it and say, nope, that was a mistake. It should have been originally 950 or 550. If that, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So in other words, now it'll flow through this report, right? It'll flow through this report. When it closes, it'll flow through this report and say that there was this huge reduction when it really wasn't a huge reduction. It was a mistake, right? And that person, a typo, and that person went in right away and fixed the typo. But the system doesn't allow it. It really should, because that's what occurs here. Okay. But let's look at the overall. Overall, it's a 3.1% decrease over last year. Sellers were receiving 97% of the list price. Currently, they're receiving 94% of the list price. More than likely, this is more like 95% of the list price if we take this this anomaly probably out of there. Okay. All right. San Bernardino County. Let's go into the last county of the day. We see a 4.8 for sale properties is down 4.8% as compared to last month, and a 16.4% improvement over last year. So again, we're seeing double digit inventory increases in San Bernardino County, which is great. Sold properties are down 3.4% over last month and 2.3% down over last year, which is not much at all. So that's good. Hopefully we can rebound here in the fall. And then pendants are up 0.4% over last month and down 0.7% over last year. Okay. New listings are down 18.5% as compared to last month. However, up 6.8% as compared to last year. So we are seeing, again, new listing inventory, existing inventory improvements in all of our counties, which is great, definitely needed in order for us to have inventory for our buyers. Average active price is down 16.4% over last month and down 0.6% as compared to last year. Okay, so average active price sellers are asking on average 0.6% less than they did last year. Not much at all, right? Very almost flat. However, they are receiving 3.7% higher. They're selling for 3.7% higher than they did last year. Again, that's really good, because when you think about it, affordability is an issue. So if we can at all see appreciation not go as high, right? If appreciation doesn't just like skyrocket up, right? 3.7% is in that normal range of appreciation, is actually a little bit under the normal range of appreciation, being 4 to 6 and 7% on average. That's a little bit under the normal range of appreciation. So that is really good for buyers and for sellers, because again, it is positive. And for buyers, it's positive, but it's not astronomical gains, right? So that's a good sign. All right, months of inventory is up 2.1% over last month. Last month, we're at 4.8 months of inventory, currently 4.9 months of inventory. So in San Bernardino County, it's the one true county that currently at this time in the month is in a normal market, and then overall is in a normal market, right? So a 21.4% increase over last year. Last year, we're at 3.7 months of inventory, currently 4.5 months of inventory. So San Bernardino County has probably the most favorable conditions for buyers currently, because we are in a normal market in the San Bernardino County. And again, be hyper local, because you've got to look at those conditions for your specific area within San Bernardino County, right? Because Ontario Ranch might be different, or Archibald Ranch might be different than a different area of Ontario, right? So you've got to be hyper local when you're looking at these numbers, when you have a specific buyer and a specific seller. Okay. Average days on market is down 2.1% as compared to last month. So last month we were at 48 days on market. Currently we're at 47 days on market. And then overall a 23.7% improvement. So last year we were at 38 days on market. Currently we're at 47 days on market. And you guys would expect that, right? If you see inventory go up, you're going to see average days on market go up, right? Okay. Sold versus original list price. Sellers are receiving, last month we're receiving 96% of their list price. Currently receiving 94% of their list price, a 2.1% decrease. And then overall a 1% decrease. Sellers last year were receiving 98% of their list price, currently receiving 97% of their list price. All right, guys, any questions about those sales trends and that data that we just talked about before we move into our upcoming events for the week? We got some good ones. No? Okay, let's go then. All right, so Today, you guys know we have group coaching. Diana Carbajal, our wonderful Diana Carbajal, is back. And she will be doing group coaching today at 12 o'clock. It's in-house and on Zoom. But definitely want you guys in-house. That's the best way to learn, is to be there. Okay. And then we have conversations in real play in the morning at 9 a.m. On Tuesday. We have a jam-packed day on Tuesday, you guys. We also have at 11, we have our value demand, which is actually called Master Your Market Analysis with Dominic Adams. So you want to learn how to price your property right, sell it for top dollar. Does somebody have a question? No? Okay. And then he's going to be talking about your another program called the Step Up program. All right, you must RSVP. So here is the QR code. You must RSVP. And it's $39. He will teach you how to set up your MLS to run your CMA.
The question was, how do you find the exact number of housing that's in each area? That was
Say
what the chart
again.
you gave.
Say again. I'm so sorry, George. What was the question?
How do you find out exactly what's available in each area that you covered on the information you just gave a minute ago?
You're talking about the counties?
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at this right here, this is telling you that there's 801 new listings for San Bernardino County. If you're looking at for sale properties, new inventory that came on the market, these are actual numbers. 546, 714, 6,210. These are actual numbers. So that's how you find it. But
Okay.
I would suggest to you that that's not significant as it is finding out for a specific zip code or area. Knowing that number, might not be as significant as you reporting on a specific neighborhood or a specific area. But to answer your question, those numbers are right there. And then let me see, is there in the chat? You're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, we just answered that. All right, good. Okay. And then, so make sure you guys sign on, make sure that now this is in-house only, you guys. Unfortunately, we are not on Zoom with this one. It will not be recorded. We brought Dominic in specially for this class. Okay. Then we have our team meeting that is going to be, we're having lunch sponsored by Nancy. So right after the class, lunch will be there. And we're going to have some updates from Franco. Ed will not be there. But Franco is going to give us some updates in terms of some interesting things that are going on in the real estate industry. So he's going to be there. Our bold coach is going to also cameo. So we are excited about that. So make sure you're at our team meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. We're going to have a prize. You guys don't want to miss that either. Going to have a prize. All right. We got our tech workshop next day on Wednesday with Martha Calderon. You guys know she is fire. She always brings it. So we're going to have our tech workshop. Then we have our very own Ashley, who's going to teach us how to create engaging TikTok reels. And it's actually reels, and so you could do them in Instagram and TikTok. Ashley did a phenomenal video that got thousands of views and a client. And this was 2 weeks ago, which is why we prompted the class. She got thousands of views on a video that she did herself. It was a property tour that she did herself, put it together. She used, I think she used CapCut, she mentioned, but she did it all herself, you guys. Now, yes, Ashley, as you can see, Ashley's young, she's a millennial, but the tool she's using, it's not hard. You just got to spend a little bit of time, slow down to go fast, all right? And she's going to be teaching us how to do that on September 18th in our office from 1 to 2. Now, why can't we do it online? You guys should know. We can't do it online because, or have it, it'll be recorded, but it won't be on Zoom. Why? Because it's too difficult to teach that, right? It's way too difficult. It's a hands-on thing. So be there. All right. All right. And then broker hour Wednesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. So we believe Ed is actually going to be available this Wednesday and Thursday. We're not 100% for sure. So we put ourselves on here. But want to send a big shout out to Franco for pitching in and still offering the class. He's been a huge help. So that's really awesome. And so we are going to have broker hour. We are talking about updated forms. So you guys who normally attend, still attend. Let me see. What do we have in the chat? How is Ed doing? Ed is doing great. Thank you for asking. He is doing great, Oscar. And Oscar, we're happy to see that you're back and that you're feeling better as well. But Ed is doing great. He is able to do his Zooms at home right now, but he is recovering really well. Okay. Just got to take it slow, as you guys can imagine, after having open heart surgery. That's a pretty big deal. You got to take it slow, right? All right. All right, let's see. All right. So let's see what else we got. And we have Bold, you guys, coming up on September 23rd. That is next week. Okay. On Monday is our Bold kickoff. We are so excited about this. We've got a great coach. It is going to be amazing. Everybody needs to be in attendance. It is a 6-week high-level training class. You guys, this is the best in the best. This is the best of the training that Keller Williams offers. It is an investment. It is an investment, but it is the best investment. And we offer a reimbursement program. So yes, it is $7.99. The first session is free, but it is $7.99 for the 6-week session. However, on your first 2 deals that you close, you will get a $400 reimbursement each time to pay for your class. You guys, I am a 17-time Bold. I've taken Bold 17 times. I've never paid for Bold. Never. Why? Because I pay for it initially, but then I get my money back. And I haven't had the aggressive 2, deals. I've had to get them over 4 deals, right? But we believe in this, and we believe if you do the work, you're going to get your money back. All right. So we're excited about this. It's going to be at the Whittier Market Center. Make sure that this is the QR code for the first day of Bold. Make sure that you sign up. All right. It's Tuesday, the 23rd. And then the 5 sessions after that are going to be on Monday. Okay. All right. So I am going to have to change my class to be on Tuesday for the time that we're in Bold. All right. I'm going to change my class to be on Tuesday for the time that we're in Bold because of Bold. All right. Let me check the chat here. Also good to hear that. I love that. All right. Good deal. Good deal. I love our office. We are such family, and I love us. I really, really do. One of the best things about us is that we are family. We all want to see each other win, do well. I think we have such a great culture in our office, and I love that. So thank you guys for that, because you create that culture. You keep that culture going. So thank you guys. I want to put on your calendar or save the date for September 26th. Mary Jane is our new My NHD representative, and she's going to be teaching us a tool called a Has Check. And basically, it helps you to be able to, on demand, check the flood and fire disclosures and know the zones and all of that. If your client is like, oh, I don't know, if this is a flood or fire zone, you'll know it right away because you'll have her Has Check tool. And then save the date, October 31st. It's actually October 30th. It's not October 31st. I don't think it is. Yeah, I'm gonna have to change this one real quick, you guys. Hang on. Let me see, because it's not the 31st. The 31st is actually the 31st is actually the day for Halloween. So I don't think we're actually doing it on the 31st. So hang on, let me look at the calendar real quick. Yep, it's the 30th. Okay, it's the 30th is when our trunk or treat is. All right. So the 30th trunk or treat, that means that we want you to sign up to open up your trunk to the little ones. Okay. Invite your clients. That's the whole purpose. Invite your clients. It's a way for you to touch your database and be like, hey, we're doing a trunk or treat on October 30th. Bring your kids, bring your grandkids, whatever. And we're going to be inviting the local schools in the area. It's a lot of fun. We do a contest. We always have a trunk winner, first and second place. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys should sign up. All right. All right. This is Ignite. So if you guys are wanting to do Ignite after dark, it's 6:30 for West Coasters. Here is the QR code. It's virtual. It keeps going on and on. So sign up. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. This is one of my favorite podcasts, you guys. Become number one on Google reviews. All right. These folks, GLS, they are a top producers, millionaire real estate agents. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on the podcast. It dropped this morning, and they are teaching you how to become number one on Google reviews. Google reviews, you guys, is huge, right? Because Google is the number one search engine, right? So if you are number one if you get a lot of Google reviews versus even Zillow reviews, you increase you being placed in front of people when they search for realtors in your specific area, if you've got your profile and everything set up. So this is important. If you're new, you want to set up your profile and you want to start making sure that you're asking for those reviews on Google, okay, and on Zillow. All right, but more so on Google. Okay. Times change. You need to know how to change with them. It used to be Zillow back in the day. Now it's Google. Okay. All right. Keep in mind, you guys have an opportunity to get referrals, earn referral fees from Airbnb. If your client decides to sign up with Airbnb, they decide to rent their property out and you refer them and they put your name, you guys can earn referral fees from Airbnb, but you got to be in the program. You got to be registered. So that's mreanotes.com/Airbnb. All right. mreanotes.com /Airbnb. mreanotes.com /Airbnb. Just putting that in the chat for you. All right. Then we have the One Thing podcast, Create Your Village. All right. So this is the One Thing podcast really talks about relationships a lot, talks about your business. It really works on the business, not necessarily in the business. So this One Thing podcast is really focusing on what should be like your one thing. And so that's why it talks about profitability. This is talking about creating your village. This is talking about those relationships, building those relationships, right? What she's saying, is a loneliness, like people are lonely. And it's weird because we're so connected by social media, right? And yet people are the loneliest they've ever been because of those virtual relationships, not real relationships, right? So this is a good one to check out. Industry news. Here's the good news that I was talking about. So mortgage rates.
Brandy, do we get that podcast is on just regular podcasts or?
Yeah, anywhere you get your podcast, the One Thing podcast.
Called The One Thing. Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Absolutely. Thank you for asking that, Oscar, because I may not have made that clear. Yeah, the One Thing podcast, you guys. Yep, the One Thing podcast with Jay Papazan. Okay. And it's the number one thing.com /podcast right here. Okay. All right. All right, mortgage rates have plummeted, right? So now that the job reports came in softer than expected, which means we did not actually produce as many jobs as they originally expected. We actually the unemployment rate is a little bit higher than expected, right? Mortgage that affected mortgage rates. Mortgage rates have been dropping actually for a total of 7 weeks straight. I think we're in the 8th week now of mortgage rates going down. And in addition to that, because of that, analysts are now predicting that the Fed will actually cut rates 3 times starting here in September. Now, they're also in this particular article, they were also talking about the fact that instead of cutting them 3 times, they may do one more substantial cut. And I think it's this week actually, and they may cut 0.5%. And then the next cut may be 0.25%. And so we may see that. Or it may be 0.75% cuts. Okay, that's what they're talking about. Either way, interest rates are going down, you guys, and mortgage applications have risen. Okay. So we're looking at 6.35, but if you guys are looking at FHA rates, you guys are in the 5.5%. Okay. So, and a lot of, at least my particular demographic and my clients are in that FHA bucket, VA bucket. So the reality is that those are great interest rates. We need to be telling that to our databases and making sure that they understand that these interest rates are going down, and it is good. It's a good time for them to hop in, right? The water's getting warm. It's time for you to come in, right? And get in now before everybody else catches on. And then what's going to happen? House prices are going to go up, right? Because now there's going to be more competition, more buyer demand, right? But right now, while everybody is kind of looking and saying, oh, is it what? Oh my God, right? No. Tell your buyers, get out there, talk to your buyers who have been on the fence and let them know, hey, now interest rates have gone down. Let's re-engage. Let's get that pre-approval letter up to date. All right. Remember, you guys, people always ask me like, oh, their pre-approval letter expired. Yeah. The expiration is only based on the fact that they haven't submitted their new paycheck stubs, their bank statements. Once they submit that stuff and there's been no change in their credit, to their job position or anything like that, all the lender does is update that information and issues a new pre-approval letter. Okay. They just have to validate that nothing's changed. And then they can reissue the pre-approval letter, and they have to give them a new good faith estimate, right? Because they want to make sure that they update them with the new interest rates. Okay. All right. Let me see what's in the chat. But this is great news. Awesome, Oscar. This is great news, you guys, that the interest rates have gone down. Okay. I know we don't like to hear it for the labor market, right? However, it does, there's cause and effect to everything. So if your client has a stable job, and they know that, you can never know anything, but they have a stable job and they're renting, and they can buy, they should be exploring that option. Definitely. All right. And then last but not least, the appeals court reject new evidence in the Sitzer Burnett case. Why am I bringing this up? I just want you guys to know they're still appealing that big court case with NAR that brought about all the changes to the BRBC and everything like that. They're still going through some processes. So you still may hear about things going on. However, the appeals court did reject new evidence. They did offer, or the NAR has to submit their briefs, and they are the appeals court, to me, is sticking to their guns and saying that they're not going to change their ruling. They're not going to change the what do you call it? The awards that were given out or anything like that, causing the NAR now to go back in their pockets, or Keller Williams, the others who settled to have to go back in their pockets. They're not doing any of that. The NAR said they're not going to go back on any of the changes that we've made to our processes and our procedures and policies. None of that will have to be changed. But as these things do happen, you guys just understand that what's going to happen with us is that NAR may make form changes, right? They may make changes to the BRBC and to the RPA in reaction to or in response to some of these appeals and things like that. Just understand that that's why it's so important that you stay up to date with the forms and you stay up to date with the changes. When Ed is talking and you see a new topic on our calendar, you should chime in. Like, that's a part of your job, is to be educated on what's going on. That's a part of our profession, right? Is we have to be educated as to what's going on so that we can educate our clients. So just wanted to drop that little piece there. That is all I have for today, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for listening. Nikki, thank you for being on camera, girl. I appreciate you. I love looking at a person, not names. Thank you, girl. Appreciate you. Thank you all again. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. Any questions before we go? No? Okay. Have an amazing day. I hope to see you guys at group coaching, and have a great week. Attend the trainings, you guys. That's what they're here for. Let's get into production. All right. Bye-bye.